The Galactic Trade Federation had ruled the stars for 3,000 years. Their ships were monuments of crystal and steel. Their technology bent reality itself. Their armies had never known defeat. But they had never met humans. When Earth's ramshackle freighters first limped into Federation space, alien admirals laughed. When humanity requested membership, the Council scoffed. When Earth's ambassador warned them about consequences of rejection, they called it a bluff. They were wrong. In 72 hours, the greatest civilization in galactic history would learn why you never corner a species that evolved from persistence hunters. Why you never underestimate creatures that turned their own planet's hostility into strength. Why you never, ever, assume that the quiet ones aren't listening. The Federation thought they were gods among insects. They were about to discover they'd been feeding time bombs. Admiral Zexhai clicked his mandibles in disgust as another human freighter dropped out of hyperspace. The ship looked like someone had welded scrap metal together and hoped for the best. Rust streaked its hull. One engine sputtered black smoke. The thing barely qualified as spaceworthy. 47th this cycle, his aide reported. They keep coming. Zexhai's four eyes tracked the vessel as it crawled toward the trade station. 3 years since first contact. 3 years of these pathetic creatures begging for acceptance into civilized space. The Galactic Trade Federation had standards. Humans clearly didn't meet them. His calm officers' spines rattled. Admiral, incoming transmission from the human vessel. Ignore it. Sir, they're using our diplomatic frequency. Protocol requires fine. Zexhai's tail lashed. Put it through. The hologram flickered to life. A human female stared back at him. Brown skin, dark hair pulled back severely. Her clothes were simple. Practical. Her eyes held something Zexhai couldn't name. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the merchant vessel Persistence. Requesting docking permission. Zexhai studied her. No jewelry. No ceremonial markings. These humans had no understanding of proper hierarchy. Permission denied. This station serves Federation members only. We have salvage to trade. Rare elements. Your databases show high demand. Irrelevant. Zexhai enjoyed this part. The Federation has voted. Humanity's application for membership has been rejected. Again. Something shifted in the human's expression. On what grounds? Your species lacks the technological sophistication required for galactic commerce. Your political structure is primitive. Your military capabilities are laughable. Zexhai's mandibles clicked with amusement. Perhaps in another few centuries. I see. The human's voice stayed level. What if I told you that rejection was a mistake? Zexhai's aide choked on his throat wine. The Admiral's four eyes blazed. Are you threatening the Federation, human? Just pointing out consequences. You've studied our history, Admiral. What happens when you corner something that doesn't want to fight? Your species couldn't threaten a moonslug, much less the Federation. Captain Chen nodded slowly. That's what everyone thinks. Right up until they're wrong. The transmission cut. Zexhai stared at the empty hologram. Something about the human's tone bothered him. Not anger. Not fear. Something else entirely. His aide cleared his throat. Orders, sir? Standard procedure. Deny all human vessels. If they persist, have patrol ships escort them out of Federation space. 3 hours later, Zexhai received his first disturbing report. Admiral, his communications officer's spines drooped with worry. We're getting strange readings from the outer system. Define strange. Multiple human vessels. But they're not approaching. They're just sitting there. Zexhai pulled up the tactical display. 17 human ships hung motionless at the system's edge. Ancient freighters mostly. A few obvious military vessels that looked like they'd been cobbled together from spare parts.
Nothing threatening. Probably waiting for permission, he said. They'll leave eventually.
But they didn't leave. By the next day, 43 human vessels had gathered. By the third day, over 100. They maintained perfect formation.
Silent. Watching.
The Federation Council grew nervous.
Emergency sessions were called. Reports flooded in from across known space.
Human ships were appearing everywhere.
Not attacking. Not demanding. Just waiting.
Zexai found himself staring at the tactical display obsessively.
Something was wrong. The humans weren't following any known military doctrine. Their positioning made no sense.
They were too spread out for an assault fleet, too numerous for a diplomatic mission. "Admiral," his aide whispered.
"The Council requests an immediate briefing."
The holographic conference chamber materialized around Zexai's desk.
12 species represented the Federation's ruling body.
Ancient races with millennia of experience.
Their faces showed confusion and growing concern. Counselor Vortha's crystalline form chimed softly. "Admiral, explain the human buildup in your sector." "Unknown intent, Counselor."
"They haven't communicated since our initial contact. They're maintaining a defensive posture."
"Defensive?" Counselor Mostak's tentacles writhed. "Against what?" "Unknown." Counselor Yolratha's golden eyes gleamed.
"Perhaps they plan some primitive assault. Their technology is centuries behind ours."
Zexai hesitated. Something nagged at him. "Counselor, I recommend caution."
"Their behavior patterns don't match any known aggressive tactics."
"Explain." "They're not massing for attack. They're positioning for something else. I can't determine what."
The ancient Counselor Dravak spoke from his life support chamber. His voice carried the weight of 2,000 years.
"I have studied their history extensively. Humans are persistence predators. They don't hunt like us." "Meaning?" "We strike fast and hard. Overwhelming force. Quick victory. Humans exhaust their prey.
They follow until the target collapses."
Silence filled the chamber. Counselor Vortha's chimes turned discordant. "Are you suggesting they're hunting us?" "I'm suggesting we don't understand what they're doing." Zexai felt his certainty cracking.
The human formation had grown to 300 vessels.
Still silent. Still waiting.
Still perfectly positioned in ways that made no tactical sense.
Counselor Yolratha's voice carried dismissal. "Primitive species posturing. We've seen it before.
A few patrol fleets will scatter them.
And if they resist?
Then, we remind them why the Federation rules the galaxy."
The conference ended. Orders went out. Patrol fleets throughout Federation space received new directives. Any human vessel refusing to leave would be disabled and impounded.
Zexai watched his own patrol launch.
12 state-of-the-art destroyers against 100 human rust buckets. The outcome was inevitable. His fleet commander's report came 3 hours later. "Admiral, the humans, they're not resisting." "Explain." "They're complying. Moving to the edge of the system is ordered." "But, sir." "What?" "They're not leaving. They're repositioning. And more ships are arriving." Zexai pulled up the updated tactical display.
His blood went cold. The human vessels hadn't scattered.
They'd reorganized. The pattern was becoming clear now. They weren't massing for attack. They weren't positioning defensively. They were surrounding everything. Every major trade route. Every strategic system. Every choke point in the galactic economy.
Like a net slowly tightening around Federation space.
His aide's voice shook. "Admiral, we're receiving reports from across the galaxy. Human ships are taking position at every major intersection. They're not doing anything aggressive, but what? They're everywhere. Zexai's mandibles clicked nervously. The humans hadn't lied. This wasn't aggression. This was something far more dangerous. This was preparation.
His comm officer looked up from her station.
Admiral, incoming transmission. It's Captain Chen again. Zexai almost refused the connection. Then, curiosity won. Put her through. The same brown-skinned human appeared. Same practical clothes. Same unreadable expression. But, now Zexai saw what he'd missed before. Patience. Admiral, Chen said quietly. I wanted to give you one last chance to reconsider. Reconsider what? Humanity's membership application. Zexai's anger flared.
Your ships are surrounding Federation space.
You call this diplomacy? I call it insurance. Against what? Chen's smile held no warmth. Against what happens next. You see, Admiral, you made an assumption. You thought we needed your permission to trade. You thought we needed your approval to exist. You thought we needed you.
She leaned forward.
You were wrong. The transmission ended. Zexai stared at the tactical display. 500 human vessels now. 1,000. Growing every hour. Positioned at every strategic point in Federation space. Not attacking. Not threatening. Just waiting. For what, Zexai was beginning to understand. And, the realization filled him with dread. The first report came from the Outer Rim territories.
Trade Route Epsilon 9, a critical shipping lane that connected 15 Federation worlds, had gone quiet.
Zexai's communications officer looked up from her console, confusion evident in her posture. Admiral, Epsilon 9 reports no ships arriving. Nothing outbound either. Technical malfunction? No, sir. The route is clear. Ships are just not moving. Zexai pulled up the galactic trade map. Epsilon 9 showed normal status. No debris. No obstacles. The lane was perfectly operational. Ships simply weren't using it. Get me a direct channel to Hub Command on Epsilon 9.
A hologram materialized showing Station Master Krill, a nervous Vaxxon whose gill flaps twitched constantly.
Admiral Zexai, thank the void you called. We have a situation. Report. The humans, sir. They're not blocking the trade route. They're not attacking. They're just there. Krill's flaps increased their agitation. 3 human vessels positioned at the route entrance.
They hail every approaching ship.
And
they offer to sell the same cargo at better prices.
Zexai's mandibles stopped clicking. What do you mean better prices? The human ships carry everything our regular traders do. Rare elements, processed goods, luxury items. But they're selling at 30% below Federation standard rates. A cold understanding crept up Zexai's spine. How is that possible? I don't know, sir.
But merchant captains are buying from them instead of entering Federation space. The humans complete transactions in open space, no station fees, no Federation taxes, no bureaucracy.
Just pure commerce. The first domino.
Within 6 hours, reports flooded in from across Federation space. The pattern was identical everywhere. Human vessels positioned at trade route entrances.
Not blocking access. Simply offering alternatives. Counselor Vortha's emergency transmission arrived as Zexai was reviewing the 15th similar report. Admiral, the humans are undercutting our entire economic structure. How is that possible, Counselor?
They're a primitive species without advanced manufacturing.
We thought so. Vortha's crystalline form resonated with stress harmonics. Our intelligence was incomplete. We observed their homeworld. We saw their basic technology. We assumed that represented their full capability. And they've been studying us for 3 years. Learning our trade routes. Identifying our suppliers. Discovering our cost structures. Vorth's chimes grew discordant. While we dismissed them as irrelevant, they mapped our entire economy. Zexhai felt his confidence cracking. They're still technologically inferior. Their ships are barely functional. Their ships are deliberately designed to appear primitive. Vorth transmitted a data package. Deep scans reveal hidden modifications. Advanced power systems. Sophisticated manufacturing bays. Quantum storage matrices that shouldn't exist. The data painted a terrifying picture. Each ramshackle human freighter contained production facilities that rivaled Federation industrial ships. While Federation vessels transported goods manufactured on distant worlds, human ships manufactured everything they sold on-site using raw materials gathered from asteroid fields. No overhead. No transportation costs. No bureaucracy. Pure efficiency. Counselor, Zexhai's voice cracked. What are our losses? 40% of outer rim trade diverted to human vessels. Projected to reach 70% within 2 cycles if trends continue. The second report arrived an hour later. Defense Sector Command, Admiral Thraxall speaking in clipped military tones. Admiral Zexhai, we have confirmed intelligence on human military capabilities. Zexhai almost didn't want to hear it. Report. We've been monitoring their formations for strategic analysis. Initial assessment was correct regarding individual ship capabilities. Each human vessel is indeed technologically inferior to our military ships. Relief flooded through Zexhai. Then, we can force them to withdraw. No, sir. We can't. Explain. They're not operating as individual ships. Analysis reveals they're networked into a collective tactical grid. Each vessel shares sensor data, computational power, and weapon targeting with all others. Zexhai's relief evaporated. You're saying their fleet acts as one ship? Worse. It acts as one mind. We tested their response time by moving patrol ships near their formations. Response was instantaneous across hundreds of vessels simultaneously. No communication lag. No command delays. They're using quantum entanglement networks for real-time coordination. Impossible. That technology is theoretical. Not anymore. Human ships can coordinate across galactic distances instantaneously. If we engage one human vessel, we engage all of them. Everywhere. At once. Zexhai stared at the tactical display. 1,200 human ships now. Positioned at every critical junction in Federation space. Each one linked to all the others. Not a fleet. A organism. Admiral Thraxall, what would happen if we attempted military action? Massive casualties. Their individual ships are weaker, but they have superior positioning and perfect coordination. More importantly, they control our supply lines. Any sustained military action would require resources they can deny us. The third domino began falling immediately. Admiral, his communications officer called. Priority transmission from Counselor Dravak. The ancient being's life support chamber filled Zexhai's holographic display. His voice carried 2 millennia of exhaustion. Admiral, the humans have made their next move. What now? They're no longer just undercutting our trade. They're offering superior services. Advanced medical technologies. Improved communications systems. Manufacturing techniques we don't understand. Zexhai's head spun. How? While we dismissed them as primitive, they've been innovating. Their technology didn't stagnate like ours. They've been advancing. Rapidly. A new data package arrived. Zexhai reviewed it with growing horror. Human medical techniques that could extend lifespans by centuries.
Communication systems that operated faster than quantum entanglement. Manufacturing processes that created materials stronger than anything in Federation databases.
Counselor, this is impossible.
3 years ago they barely had interstellar flight. 3 years ago they revealed they barely had interstellar flight.
There's a difference. The implications hit Zexai like a kinetic strike. They've been hiding their capabilities. Worse, they've been accelerating them. Human technological advancement isn't linear like ours. It's exponential. They don't improve existing systems. They replace them entirely with superior alternatives. Reports continued flooding in. Human ships weren't just offering alternatives to Federation trade. They were offering improvements. Better products. Superior services. Advanced technologies. Federation merchants were abandoning traditional supply chains to purchase from humans. Independent worlds were signing direct trade agreements with human vessels. Even Federation member species were quietly initiating diplomatic contact. The humans weren't destroying Federation trade. They were making it obsolete. Admiral, his aide's voice carried barely controlled panic. Emergency Council session. All admirals required to attend. The holographic conference chamber materialized with all 12 counselors present. Their usual composure had cracked. Stress patterns showed across every species represented. Counselor Yulrath spoke first. The situation has become critical. Human vessels now control effective access to 60% of our trade routes. They're not blocking access. Counselor Mostak's tentacles writhed in agitation. They're making it irrelevant. Counselor Vortha's harmonic stress patterns were reaching dangerous frequencies. Economic models predict complete collapse of traditional trade within 8 cycles. What do they want? Admiral Thraxol demanded. Ancient Counselor Dravak's life support systems hummed as he spoke. I have maintained unofficial communication with several human vessels. Their demands are simple. Which are? Full Federation membership. Immediate implementation. No probationary period. Shocked silence filled the chamber. Impossible, Counselor Yulrath snarled. They haven't met requirements. They're redefining the requirements. Dravak's ancient voice carried grim understanding. They don't want to join our system. They want to replace it. Zexai found his voice. What happens if we refuse? They continue what they're doing. Our economy collapses. Our defense networks become unsustainable. Member worlds defect to human trade partnerships. Dravak paused. The Federation dies. Not through conquest. Through irrelevance. The chamber fell silent except for the hum of life support systems and the nervous biological sounds of stressed aliens. And if we accept their membership? Counselor Vorth asked. Unknown. But they've demonstrated they understand our civilization better than we understand theirs. They know exactly how to dismantle everything we've built without firing a shot. Zexai stared at the tactical display showing human positions. 1,200 ships. No. 1,500 now. Growing every hour. Not an invasion force. An alternative. A better option that made 3,000 years of Federation civilization look primitive and inefficient. His communications officer interrupted his thoughts. Admiral, Captain Chen is requesting communication. Zexai almost refused. Then realized he had no choice. Connect her. The same human appeared. Same practical clothes. Same patient expression. But now Zexai recognized what he was seeing. Confidence. Admiral, Chen said quietly. I believe we need to talk. Captain Chen's image stood steady in the holographic display. Behind her, Admiral Zexai could see the interior of her ship. It looked nothing like the rust bucket exterior suggested. Clean lines. Advanced interfaces.
Technology that hummed with quiet efficiency.
You've been watching us scramble, Sexai said. It wasn't a question. For 72 hours. Yes. What do you want? Chen folded her hands. Admiral, do you know what humans call a creature that's backed into a corner with no way out? Zexai's mandibles clicked nervously. Enlighten me. Dangerous.
The word hung in the air like a suspended blade. Around the holographic conference chamber, 12 counselors watched in silence.
The most powerful beings in galactic civilization reduced to observers in their own emergency session.
3 years ago, Chen continued, you rejected humanity's application for Federation membership.
You called us primitive. Technologically insufficient. Politically immature. Your species hadn't demonstrated readiness for galactic civilization. Chen's smile carried no warmth. Admiral, you evaluated us based on what we chose to show you. That was your first mistake. Data streams flooded the conference channels. Technical specifications. Manufacturing capabilities. Scientific achievements. The humans weren't primitive.
They'd been selectively revealing only their most basic capabilities while hiding everything else. Your second mistake was assuming we needed your approval to exist in galactic space.
More data. Human colonies on unclaimed worlds. Mining operations in asteroid fields outside Federation jurisdiction. Manufacturing facilities that produced goods superior to anything in Federation markets. An entire parallel economy that had grown invisible beneath Federation notice.
Your third mistake was believing isolation would contain us. The final data package painted the complete picture.
Human vessels weren't positioned defensively around Federation space.
They were positioned to control it.
Not through military force, but through economic necessity. Every Federation world that wanted access to human goods and services now depended on human ships for delivery. Counselor Vortha's crystalline form resonated with stress. You've surrounded our entire civilization. We've offered alternatives. People chose them. Admiral Thraxol leaned forward aggressively. This is economic warfare. This is capitalism, Admiral. Free market competition. Aren't those Federation principles? The question hit like a physical blow.
The Federation prided itself on free trade and open markets.
The humans had simply provided better options within that framework.
Ancient Counselor Dravak spoke from his life support chamber.
What are your terms? Simple. Full Federation membership. Immediate implementation. Human vessels receive the same rights and privileges as any Federation ship. Impossible, Counselor Yulrath snarled.
You haven't undergone the probationary process.
Haven't proven political stability. Haven't demonstrated technological compliance with Federation standards. Chen's expression didn't change.
Counselor, you're negotiating from a position that no longer exists.
Meaning?
Meaning the Federation's authority depends on worlds choosing to recognize it.
How many chose human alternatives this cycle? Uncomfortable silence filled the chamber.
The numbers were devastating. 60% of Outer Rim worlds had established direct trade relationships with human vessels.
Independent systems were requesting human diplomatic contact. Even some Federation member worlds were quietly exploring alternatives.
You're destroying 3,000 years of galactic civilization, Counselor Mostak accused. We're evolving it, Chen replied calmly. The Federation built a stable, hierarchical system that worked for its time.
But it stopped adapting. Stopped innovating. Became bureaucratic and inefficient. She gestured to data displays showing Federation trade networks. Layers of regulation. Multiple taxation systems. Bureaucratic delays that extended simple transactions across months. We're offering something better. Direct trade. Advanced technology. Efficient services. No bureaucracy. No artificial barriers. No oversight, Admiral Thraxel countered. No regulation. No stability. No corruption either. No political favoritism. No species-based discrimination. Chen's voice hardened slightly.
The Federation claims to represent galactic civilization, but it only represents established power structures.
Zexai found himself studying the human captain with new understanding. This wasn't random aggression. This was surgery. Precise dismantling of Federation authority through systematic replacement with superior alternatives. What happens to existing Federation structures, he asked. They adapt or become irrelevant. Trade stations that provide value will thrive. Military forces focused on actual defense rather than power projection will find purpose. Bureaucracies that exist only to maintain themselves will disappear. And, if we refuse your membership? Chen's smile returned. Then, in 6 months, you'll be asking to join us.
The brutal confidence in that statement sent chills through every being in the chamber.
But, Zexai recognized the accuracy. Human economic networks were expanding exponentially. Their technological advantages were accelerating. Their diplomatic influence was growing. The Federation wasn't facing conquest. It was facing obsolescence. Counselor Dravak's ancient voice carried grim acceptance. You planned this. All of it. From the moment we achieved interstellar flight. We studied galactic civilization for 50 years before making contact. Learned your strengths and weaknesses. Identified opportunities for improvement. 50 years? Zexai's voice cracked.
But, you only achieved spaceflight 60 years ago.
We achieved obvious spaceflight 60 years ago. We developed stealth capabilities 20 years before that. We've been watching you for decades. The implications staggered everyone present. Humans had observed Federation civilization long enough to understand its fundamental structures. Long enough to develop specific countermeasures. Long enough to design systematic replacement systems.
Why reveal yourselves at all?
Counselor Vorth asked. You could have remained hidden. Because isolation wasn't our goal. Integration was. But, integration is equals, not subjects. Chen's expression softened slightly. We don't want to destroy the Federation. We want to improve it. By replacing it entirely.
By demonstrating that better options exist.
Market forces handle the rest. Admiral Thraxel's military mind grasped the tactical picture.
You're not conquerors.
You're parasites. We're evolution. Every successful civilization eventually faces this choice. Adapt or stagnate. The Federation chose stagnation.
Chen transmitted a new data package.
Projections showing Federation worlds under human trade systems.
Economic growth increased by an average of 40%.
Technological advancement accelerated. Bureaucratic overhead reduced by 70%. Quality of life improved across all measured metrics. This is what partnership with humanity offers. Not subjugation. Not replacement. Optimization. The chamber fell silent as counselors reviewed the data. The projections were compelling. Almost every metric improved under human systems.
The only losses were bureaucratic positions and inefficient traditional structures.
What guarantees do we have? Counselor Vorth asked finally. The same guarantees you offer any Federation member. Mutual benefit. Shared prosperity. Collective security.
But, with human technological superiority defining the relationship.
With human efficiency improving everyone's situation. Including ours. Zexai realized the fundamental shift that had occurred.
The Federation had approached first contact as superiors evaluating potential subjects.
Humans had approached it as competitors analyzing potential markets. The difference in perspective had been decisive.
Admiral, his aide whispered urgently. Priority transmission from Fleet Command.
Zexai accepted the data stream.
His blood went cold. Military intelligence reported human vessels materializing throughout Federation space.
Not new arrivals.
Ships that had been present but cloaked.
Thousands of them. The humans hadn't been massing forces over 3 days. They'd been revealing forces that were already in position.
Captain Chen, Zexai's voice carried forced calm.
How many ships do you actually have?
Enough. Her smile held no malice, only certainty.
Admiral, we're not threatening anyone.
We're simply making our capabilities visible.
The tactical display updated. Human vessels appeared throughout Federation space. Not hundreds. Thousands.
Positioned to monitor and respond to any military action.
Too many to fight. Too well positioned to avoid.
Counselor Dravak's life support systems hummed as he processed the implications.
You could have conquered us at any time. Conquest creates resentment. Partnership creates prosperity. We prefer prosperity. But, you've demonstrated you could enforce your will militarily if necessary. We've demonstrated we don't need to. Economic superiority is more powerful than military force. People choose better options voluntarily.
The truth settled over the chamber like a heavy blanket.
Humans hadn't threatened the Federation. They'd made it irrelevant.
They'd offered superior alternatives and let market forces handle implementation.
Elegant. Effective. Unstoppable. Zexai looked around the chamber at beings who had ruled the galaxy for 3 millennia.
They looked confused.
Lost. Obsolete. What happens now? He asked. Chen straightened. Now you vote.
Accept humanity as a full Federation member with all rights and privileges.
Or watch the Federation dissolve as worlds choose human alternatives individually. And, if we accept? Then, we work together to optimize galactic civilization. Human efficiency combined with Federation stability. Improved systems that benefit everyone. Under human leadership. Under human innovation.
Leadership remains with whoever provides the most value.
Admiral Fraxall leaned back in his chair. A hostile takeover disguised as a business proposal.
An evolution disguised as trade negotiation, Chen corrected.
But, the outcome benefits everyone except entrenched bureaucracies.
The chamber fell silent except for the nervous biological sounds of stressed aliens and the hum of life support systems.
3,000 years of galactic civilization hung in the balance. I call for immediate vote, Counselor Dravak announced.
All in favor of granting immediate full Federation membership to humanity.
One by one, the votes registered. Some reluctant. Some resigned. Some calculating. All affirmative. Motion carried unanimously, Dravak announced.
Welcome to the Federation, Captain Chen. Though I suspect you've been running it for the past 3 days.
Chen's smile finally carried warmth. Thank you, counselors.
I look forward to a productive partnership.
The transmission ended.
The chamber dissolved. Admiral Zexai sat alone at his desk, staring at the tactical display showing human vessels throughout Federation space.
They'd been calling it first contact. The humans had been calling it a job interview. And, they'd just been hired.